Yay.
What's going on, everybody? I'm the Black Fit Witch.
And I'm Galactic Honey.
And tonight we're going to talk about how to recognize the connection. We've had, well, I know, last episode, who was it? Oh, yeah.
Master Creator.
Yeah, it was Master Creator. He was talking about how to recognize the connection. He asked us that question. And that was also one of the topics that Galactic Honey and myself had wanted to go over more in depth, because of course we know you all gonna run into people, you're gonna run into relationships and interact, and you probably like, well, how I know this person ain't, and how I know this person is. Well, and then there's so much information out there about twin flames, so you may be thinking, oh, well, what if this is a twin flame, and how do I know that this not a twin flame or a divine connection, or my soul partner, so we're gonna clear some things up. Sorry,
Um,
I just got a text message from the Warlock. Hopefully he'll be joining us soon.
Yay. Looking for the ending in daylight with a flashlight.
I know. We're not even gonna tell you who it is because I can't wait till he makes an appearance. But yes, he'll be once we all have to take like spiritual sabbaticals. That's what I
Mm,
call them. So spiritual sabbaticals are
mm,
often needed, and we can't rush them. We can't. We don't even have to explain. I don't even tell people to
mm.
explain shit to me. Like whatever you got to do, you got to do.
Yeah,
Don't explain nothing to me because I go through mine and I be in hiding. Like
yeah.
seriously.
I be
So
under the bed, under the
yeah,
table,
you ain't gonna find me.
under the subconscious. I don't know. It be dark,
It be
And I,
dark. It be no. It be no people. I'm good with the people in. But yeah, we want to talk to you all about how to recognize the connection in previous and this is our third episode, right? Or fourth. I can't remember.
the fourth.
I think it's our third. It's our fourth.
I
Let me see. The
think it's
first
fourth.
one,
The third
third.
one was
Yeah, this is the
last one.
fourth. So this is the fourth episode. um I know that I've shared some things, but it's intriguing to me, and we're gonna go into it, but it's intriguing to me, the process of spiritual partnerships, because the process of recognize the connection is really a process of your own spiritual development. So it's really not nothing, and that's why I like saying it, like nothing is outside of you. Really, the connection is recognizing your elevation as you're going through the spiritual journey. And when you, because what I did, and I was thinking about it today, and what I did was I reflected on our connection and where it was 2 years ago, but it really was where I was 2 years ago in my spiritual journey. And when I thought about it and looked at it and reflected, I'm like, oh, okay, some things had to occur, which, we'll talk through what those look like. But
Yeah.
those things had to occur because that's where I was at that time. And I didn't see certain things.
Yeah.
But the relationship and the connection brings those things out, which is another part of how you'll recognize the connection. But we'll get on into that. But
Yeah.
yeah, um, I want to share first, and we both can talk about it. How to recognize the connection. One of the first things that you'll recognize, that I feel like what I recognized within the connection was when I would say when I first figured out, like, or I wouldn't even say figured out. When I first was like, what the fuck is it? That is when it was pretty much like when I kissed him. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this man, my thing was, okay, you constantly come to see me, you constantly, want to talk to me. You over here, you don't, you constantly want to touch on me. And I'm telling my thing was, this is how I am, this is how frustrated I had got with relationships. So I told him, hey, if you kiss me, we together. I had told him point blank period, like, I got time to play with you. If you kiss me, we together. Like, I ain't got time to play. Like, we moving on to next steps. Like, I don't have time to do this and that like that. So I'm gonna let you know before you go further with me. If we move on, then this is what we doing. I was all into my little this niggas made me mad type of thing. And so I went ahead, gave him the opportunity, and we kissed. And it was like, oh well, whoa. We both, after the kiss, we both sat there and looked at each other. Cause and I think in both of our minds, we were kind of like, what the fuck just happened here? We're like, what was that? And he said, I hadn't kissed, he said, I hadn't had a kiss like that in over 20 years. He was like, he was shocked. And then I was shocked because I'm like, shit, I ain't never had no kiss like that. Because my life, I'm like, goddamn.
Right.
The kiss was more of a magnetic type of energy that was more than like the way that I can explain it was like it was magnetic. It was more than just an attraction. It was like the connection of past souls coming back into
Mm-hmm.
reunion. So it
Yeah.
felt like, damn, it's almost like have you ever lost your keys for like 2 years? You know what I'm saying? That's almost like how it was like, damn, I lost
Yeah.
you for centuries, maybe. Who knows? I'm talking about
Yeah.
from the soul essence perspective. So I've been wandering around here, in this physical form again, wandering around here, dilly dallying with who this, that, and the third, not knowing, and boom, reunion. That's what it felt like. It felt like boom, reunion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best way I can put it. Like, it wasn't ordinary, it wasn't the same. And that was one of the first things for me that I recognized the connection.
Yeah. Um, Mine's was more like when we first met. To me, that's the part that sticks out the most. If I can go back to recognizing the connection, like that, having that spark, it was more like it was kind of like I lost something and then now I found it. It was like, well, damn, where you been at? Like, because even when we like came into contact with each other, it was before he even saw from what my perspective. I don't think he saw me until I was actually like in his vicinity. He claims that he had already saw me, but he was like he said he kind of like did it from afar, kind of like he didn't like move, like it was like a magnetic pull, kind of like that. When I first saw him, the first thought that came into my head was, I need to get to know him. Like, who is that? You know, it was like I don't really like. I'm not the type of woman to just go and pursue a man. So it was kind of like subtle pursuing. If like from the time I saw him, from we didn't interact that day, but I kind of like place it. I don't want to sound it was kind of like I was like so intrigued to where I kind of like placed myself, like I would purposely go in the kitchen because I was just trying to find out more. For some reason, I felt a pull towards him. And like after the second day, I was like, okay, it's most definitely going on because I went home and I was thinking about him. And I was like, that's weird. You know what I'm saying? First of all, because um when they say they're not your usual type, it's really not your usual type. Um, if they're like he's younger than me, so it wasn't like I'd be like, I never gave anybody under me, like anybody under my age, a chance. I always dated older guys. So to be intrigued by him, I was just like, it's got to be something else going on here. Then the next time we came into contact, um, that's when it was more of a recognition. So at first it was like, I'm intrigued. I need to get to know him. Like, who is that? Like, why does he feel so familiar? Why I've never seen him before? Like, it was like all these questions going through my head. But then the second meeting is when we actually got close enough and it was more of a recognition. And the way you feel, it's almost kind of like electricity flowing through your body. You have so much energy. It's like when you come close together, it's like all of this energy now is like pulsing through your body almost. You can feel it, but you don't know why you feel it. And it's not like an anxious feeling or a feeling of um no anxiety. It's not anxiety. It's more of I want to say it's like when you get really, really excited about something, but you don't know what you're excited about. I don't know how to explain it in a way. And it really is really unexplainable. The feelings that you get, the feeling of electricity flowing through your body, just all of a sudden coincidences happening out of nowhere. Like that would be my thing. We would be together and then something coincidentally will happen. um I don't really believe in coincidences, but it would always be something happening. And I always noticed that when, even though nobody knew that we were talking or even seeing each other or anything, like it was kept, really kept really, really sacred. Nobody knew for years that we were even in whatever it was that we were in at the time. Nobody knew for years. And it wasn't like we were keeping each other a secret or anything. It was more of like we found something and we had to like keep it to
You want
ourselves,
to
almost
protect
like,
it. Yeah.
yeah, like you felt like you could feel it. Um, you can feel like you're like it, I don't know. To me, it feels like two hearts like constantly like pulling each other towards each other. You can like try to walk backwards or try to turn around and walk away, but they still are like magnetically pulling towards each other. And even when like you are not when you on bad terms, it's still this pull towards each other. It makes you, I don't. It's like it's 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 unmatched, and it's something that you don't receive with everyone. I've never received that type of response towards somebody. Now I've really liked some people. Like I've really been in love with some people. Um and still have never had this type of soul recognition. Like I instantly knew that I had a past life with him. I had to go find information to confirm what I was picking up. It's almost instantaneous coming into contact with him. I was not a I wasn't even a medium before then. I hadn't even tapped into no type of gifts. No, I wasn't talking to my ancestors like that. Like it wasn't, I didn't have that type of Nobody ever, I never, my physical makeup went through a change. Like it was almost like um my body had hit an upgrade because I had came into contact with him. So it would be like now all of a sudden I'm hearing dead people. I'm like I'm seeing things with my third eye. Like my third eye was wide open. Never had that happen before. I only had one encounter when I was pregnant with my last son. That's the only spiritual, real spiritual encounter that I could actually say I actually had um before this happened. But when I came into contact with him, it was like all of these things just started popping up out of nowhere. I could see him in my dreams, stuff I had never even done before. I dreamed about my friends, my kids, my family before I dreamed about a mate. Never happened. I would like it would be all of these memories that would come back. It was like all of a sudden I knew certain situations that we had been in before. It was like it was it was unmatched. Like there's nothing that I've ever, no relationship that I've ever been in that compared to the amount of um awakenings that I've had through this process. Like being on this journey has really awakened me. And so like I've had so many awakenings regarding who I am. Number one, I never had a relationship make me look at myself either. That was another thing. Like I think if anything, that's the most important thing, that I never had a relationship that actually made me reflect on who I actually am, made me want to know who I am, made me want to like I've never been brought so many times back to myself. Like, being constantly brought back to myself, the more and more that we interacted, the more, especially when you accept things that are not in alignment with who you are, the universe just kept bringing me back to myself, kept bringing me back to myself. The more and more I learned about myself and the reasons why I accept the things that I do and the reasons why I, do the things that I do or don't do the things that I do, it put me in class almost. Like I was in class, like I'm learning so much about myself through an individual. And I have, being married for 12 years, not to say that I haven't learned anything through that marriage, but nothing on the level of to make me actually the marriage kind of I was kind of in the middle, like in a void, kind of like that. Sometimes I was on the downward spiral and sometimes I was on the upward spiral. But with this, it's like I'm always on the upward spiral. I never worry about downward spiraling because I'm always learning more and more and more about myself to the point where I'm not doing the same things that would cause me to go on that downward spiral. Now the things that I'm learning about myself is preventing those things from happening. So I had to look at it like that. Like it got to the point where I would be like, how you come in with, your old wounds into this partnership. And I would, how you will be in your victim mode sometimes, why are you doing this to me? And why? And then I got to the point where I had to think like, is he really doing something to me, or is he really helping me? Like it made me look at him in a whole different way. I started to see him as, okay, this is a persona, this is a role he's playing, this is not really who he is. Because how could he be this? How could what I had made up in my head, right, because of my old wounds, my old trauma, I had made up in my head of who he was, when all actuality, like everything that we've been through or everything that we have experienced, it has not been anything compared to what I've experienced in other relationships. So it put me in a place where I had to really ask myself, like, okay, is this really hurting me or is this helping me? The fact that I asked myself that question started to bring in all of this information. And I was just like, okay, okay. It was like I had another awakening. Now I'm like, okay, I need to look at this different because there's something else going on here. Like there's something else going on that I cannot see. And it started to make me really pay attention to it, and made me more aware of myself, like made me more aware of what was going on. Now I'm realized, oh, I'm talking to his higher self. Like this is what is going on. Like, you don't you like when you don't have anybody that has ever I didn't grow up in spirituality. I didn't have anybody to teach me. Nobody in my family does what I do. So I literally was being, led and taught by my own soul, and through the individuals that was brought in, that we all have soul contracts with. But I didn't have anybody really real deal physical until a few years ago. That actually, I know that are experiencing the same things I'm experiencing. Like I went through a little phase where I thought I was crazy for a minute because I'm just like, am I making this shit up? Like, am I like? Because it was so the transformations are so powerful with your cosmic partner. These are not your regular transform, like these are transformations are on a soul level that never surface. I don't care what it looks like, it never is surface. It's always deep, you know, and that's how I recognize, like, okay, I need to keep going. I got to keep exploring this because not only is it teaching me about, helping me to learn who I am by reflecting back to me, the things that are not serving me, or even reflecting the fact that through this situation I've learned how that I'm a healer too, um through my partner, learning that, okay, they are also in the middle of their transformation as well, because he told me, he was like, you helped me learn, you taught me how to love again, you made me want to love again. And so that's a form of healing that he needed for himself, you know what I'm saying? So we are both helping each other. The things that I actually thought in my mind were actually being said out of his mouth. So it was like, okay, I can now, after so many times of doubting it and being like, no, this cannot be this. Like, this cannot really be happening. Like, this experience really cannot happen like this, right? And you be like, okay, after doubting it so long, you start to realize, like, okay, this is real. Like, it's something in you that just says, stop running, and this is real. Like, this is a real connection. This is everything that you are experiencing is real, and you need to take it for what it is and learn as much as you need to learn about yourself and about what this really means to be in a cosmic partnership. What does it really mean to be in this? Like, I would ask all the time, like, what does this really mean? Like, what does this mean? But it's so sacred that things are given to you in bits and pieces and little puzzle pieces. You can't receive it all at one time, because you really can go manic, like real deal go manic. um but it helped me to understand, like, okay, damn, this is really something. This it's real people out here experiencing this, and I need to see what's going on, because I need answers. I needed answers. I need real deal. Like, I needed it to make sense, but then I had to realize that it doesn't have to make sense. You might not ever really know your real purpose for being here until you real deal leave here. You might not ever really know the real reason why we were sent here to do this work. We might not ever really real deal figure it all out, but you have to be able to um, go with
And
the
put
flow.
pieces
Go along
together.
with
You have to be able to put pieces together, and you also got
the-
to be able to listen to your own intuitive nature.
yeah,
So when you can put pieces together based on what you're reflecting outwards, you can use that as your path of connecting your mission. But one
yeah,
of the another thing that I wanted to say, with recognizing the connection, and it could go for the divine masculine or divine feminine, the witch or the warlock. Don't know. In my case, as the witch, working with a warlock or a wizard, um, my second, the first kind of recognizing the connection was that magnetic energy that happened with the exchange of spirit, which is kiss. But the second part was the um within me not knowing, I created a way to run or to leave or to back away from the connection because really you've never experienced anything before. So what your physical 3D form and your 3D mind, what you used to is going to go back to its play, right? It's going to go back to, hey, nah, let's go, and you'll figure out. And I know I think and it happens within like maybe your first few months
Yeah.
of, or maybe within a year of a connection. So when you first have that aha, like, oh wow, what is this? Maybe within like a few months to a year, one of you all are going to back away or move or figure out a way to disconnect because you don't really understand the connection.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It scares you.
yeah, so what the mind goes to do is to go back to what it feels is its safe place. What
Mm-hmm.
we already talked about control and surrender. So what it wants to go back to is, let me grab some control. So it'll go back to what it feels to be safe. I know within me, I was the one that created, I think I had told him my birthday once, and we had been dating for probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months, 4, 6, 7 months, I don't know. But the day came, he forgot my birthday. And I ain't gonna tell y'all what I did, but he still brings it up. It was low down. But and I left, and I did not. I deleted his name out of my phone, deleted his phone. He didn't even know that I did all of this. Like I literally, like I was like, this man forget my birthday. Oh, I ain't gonna talk to you no more. And that was really me creating a way to run. Me trying to figure out a way. Like he did nothing else. Like he forgot your birthday. Like what big deal? That's what a logical person would say, right? But you will figure out a way to run. But the other person is going to figure out a way. Like no, like it's something about this. Like I got to figure this out. Like one, it's almost like dealing with the right and left hemisphere of the brain.
Yes.
Gonna be logical. One is gonna be artistic. Like, oh no, let me figure this out. No, I want to go over here and color. So one of them, which was him, was like, he ended up calling me back like months later, and I was like, who is this? And he was like, what? And he was like, you don't know who it is. And I was like, I deleted you out of my phone. And he said, what? You had deleted me out of your, but I'd had, because I was going back to my safe space. My safe space is like, okay, you don't do this. Safe space doesn't want to grow. Safe space doesn't want to learn. Safe space doesn't want to ascend.
Mm-hmm.
That would be your 3D ego nature trying not to break out of the mold of what you're used to doing. So
Yeah.
when he came back, I listened to it. I was like, first of all, shoot, you still contacted me back. So that made me question, like, nah, you still like what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still trying to figure out, like, why are you coming back? Like, you was gone. Here you come back. And so, but within that time, I was growing. I still was maturing, because at that point, I looked at it as being very immature to even do that and not communicate how I was feeling. It was easier for me to run than to communicate. So that would be like the second thing. So I definitely would say you will feel some type of magnetic pull, like we both of us have shared. Like, she placed the collector hunt and said, I placed myself somewhere and I could feel the magnet. We got closer and you can feel the magnetic with me. And I felt the connection and the energy through the kiss. It was like when we exchanged spirit, that's when I felt it. But my second part, after that, the second stage, I would say, of recognizing the connection is that, somebody may not be on a level of spirituality to recognize this. So
Mhm.
one person may try to figure out a way to disconnect and go back to a safe space. All right. Now you'll hear about this in runner, chaser, and all of that kind of stuff, which still holds true here as well. And I wouldn't say it's a runner chaser, it's more so of growth has to occur, and you're going to a place that feels safe
Mhm.
until you have the other party come back for you to recognize, hey, no, this is the growth that needs to occur, because the partner, and I feel like even if it wasn't him that came back, somebody would have been placed in my life for me to recognize that that was ignorant and
Yeah.
childish, and growth has to occur here, you know. So
Yeah.
but it just so happened to be him to come back. It didn't have to be, because I'm Gary Zukav. I believe in the Gary Zukav method, but it was, and it gave me the thought process to be like, hey, you know, damn, you need to grow. So I feel like, and at that point, he had to do some growing as well, you know.
Mhm.
So because relationships all about, you know, taking these steps to move up higher in this physical form, we're still trying to figure out ourselves as well as another person. So it takes a
Yeah.
lot of patience, which we talked about already. But first is patience within self. So you'll see the connection, you know, started to elevate itself when you see that you're elevating your spiritual self as well. So you'll see the ascension. So that was the second part that I wanted to share of the connection. And then it starts to get a little bit deeper, but I'll go ahead
Mhm.
and
But separation makes the heart grow fonder as well. Um, and when you do go into separation, you know, it what we have learned is that there's something always going to bring us back, because it's like she said, she had to realize that that wasn't she wasn't being an adult by actually communicating. But I have had those situations too where I'm thinking I'm in the right and he wrong. But then throughout that separation, I realized that I also didn't make the best choice. I
mm,
also chose not to speak freely and say what it was, like how I was feeling in that moment, or how whatever happened made me feel. And I would also use that as an excuse to walk away or to run away, you know.
mhm,
In these dynamics, you both are runner and chaser. You both are running from the same things most of the time. But it also serves its purpose, because we are, like she said, growing. We are growing, and we are mirroring to each other what is within us that is not serving us as well. So just like he forgot her birthday, um for every action there's a reaction as well, right? So the reaction that Blackfeet Witch had to his action, now we fighting fire with fire, so we're not getting anywhere really, but we going back into our corners to heal this whole matter up. I have had this happen to me so many times, and I have to realize that the way I react to things is what will actually cause us to go into separation too. Like I had to realize, I was like, okay, well, we already know that he have communication issues, but I've been actually doing work, so there's no reason why I can't communicate and be like, okay, we need to talk about this. Like this right here won't be tolerated, or um I really expected, like, for this to go a different way, but now we're here. So we need to talk about, me being able to speak up for myself had always been an issue. Even now, I will choose the petty route sometimes versus because, I feel like we at a different space than we should be in a different place. This is what I be feeling like. So, um, but also recognizing that that's not always because we are not always on the same level, and we are all still learning. Um, and I mean, me not giving any effort to the situation, but turning my back on it and then being upset about it is also, you know, not going to help us at all either. Now I have to go back for a lesson that I've already learned before. And I have to realize that there's a better way to do things and a better way to um, carry on with this connection. And what I have also learned is these masculines are so intelligent. Um, they are so in tune with themselves, even though they have not actually, they may not, we may not be on the same level spiritually, right? Sometimes I feel like he's leading, then sometimes I feel like I'm leading, so it's like tit and tat, right? So I realized that they are doing the job that they are supposed to. So when they, like, this journey is about having fun. It's not meant to really hurt you in any way. It's not meant to um tear you down. It's not meant to do that. But it is meant to help you to become the greatest version of yourself that you could possibly be. Um And I have learned that these masculines are in tune with themselves so much that they carry out the lessons like unconsciously. Um, and we all are just sitting there like, okay, oh, okay, this is a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back here again. Okay, okay. You never stop learning, because you are ever evolving. Forever evolving. So all of it, all of it serves its purpose. um all of it is here to, like, to carry us to the next phase in the next stage of whatever of this connection. um and I can see I think we have a lot of people out there that have experienced a form of cosmic partnership, twin flame, whatever, um divine partnership, all of those things, right? And they have given up, and I can see why. I really can. I can see why. Because you don't think, we really think our shit don't stink like that. You know what I'm saying? We really think that we really don't have a lot of work to do. And I remember having a dream saying, and when I was coming out the dream, I could hear a woman saying, "You think this is gonna be easy?" And I'm thinking, I'm talking back to her like she's an enemy. I'm not realizing that she, like, letting me know, like, giving me a heads up. This is not finna be easy. This is not the easy route. This is the road less traveled. You don't have a lot of people experiencing these connections on this type of level. And it's hard, um, especially when with what you see in the 3D. It's hard to just sit. It can be hard to just sit there and be like, nah, this motherfucker ain't finna make me look crazy. You know what I'm saying? But learning that you never stop learning, and there's always work for you to do on yourself, like, and that person that you visualize yourself as, your cosmic partner is doing nothing but to help you become that version, and vice versa.
Yeah, and
So
I
that's
think that
another way you can recognize.
and I think that it's also about, like, it's really, and when you was talking, this just came to me. It was like balance, balance, balance,
Yes,
because
yes.
really the connection is all about, I know for me, one of the things that I recognized, which was able to mature my relationship and propel it forward, was me able to find the balance. because
Yeah.
you have to find balance within the relationship. And I know that was something that he had brought up that he had shared with me from, he said he was out of balance in his previous marriage. And so that's something that I recognize in myself, that I can be out of balance in relationships.
Yeah.
And so the out of balance is like what I just shared. If you'll connect these pieces, like when I said, hey, I have to run because, I wanted back control and I didn't understand what was going on, right? That was the immature state. That was the protective, that my crab nature. But then when I'm in a relationship, then I'm a over giver. Then
Yeah.
I'm all in, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, whatever you want, whatever you need, your time with you, I whatever. So on one end is like, I'm gonna close you off, and the other end, I'm open all the way up. There's no balance in either side.
Yeah.
Both of them are like this. This is like, hey, I'm over giving, or either I'm shutting down. There's no balance. So
Yeah.
within a relationship, also one of the things that I had to learn, which is one stage of what the connection and disconnection was teaching me, and what I learned in my last disconnection, which once I got it and spirit knew, universe knew I got it, that's when he came back again. Yeah, I always break up and then he come back. But then he
Yeah.
came back again. But at that point I had got it, because I would either be slam the door in your face, or my house is wide open, if you get what I mean. So my
Mm-hmm.
thing is that, hey, it can't be one or the other, but you got to find the medium within it all. So you can't you can't just do anything. But of course, you don't want anybody to run over you, but you do want to give them some time. But then you do need to have time for you. If you do need to speak up for yourself, you need to say that shit. If he doing this over here, you need to say, he need to say something here. And you need to be able to communicate and tell him how you feel about this, and then allow him to communicate how you feel about stuff that you're doing, without you feeling no type of way and getting all emotional and crying, and then trying to play on his heart chakra. So, there's a balance here that has to be created. Don't overgive, but don't be so crabby and hardcore where you don't open up your heart. And
Yeah.
that's where you have to find the balance, because usually we'll be afraid to completely open up our heart. Because I know with me, I'm a water sign. I want to be all over you. Like my water want to be all encompassing you. You gonna be water too by the time I'm finished. We all water. He calls it Siamese. And his thing is, when you want a Siamese again, he said, Siamese not healthy. Even the Siamese don't want to be Siamese. Because I be wanting to Siamese. But I have to think about, I have to understand there has to be balance. Like Dina can't shut down, and yet she can't be completely overbearing water. Like this partnership is here
Yeah.
to understand that space is needed for you. You need your own space. I need my own space. He need his own space too. And don't lose myself in the water. Don't lose myself in the flow. Understand how to ride the wave of the relationship, allowing one person to find their way on what they need to do, allow me to still find my way and grow on my path. And that's how we end up finding balance. But through it all,
Yeah.
different things are going to come up in the relationship that's going to bring an awareness of something that I may have embedded in me that's laying dormant, that I didn't know that was laying dormant within me, that I didn't recognize. And it could be something that he may say or do or act, or even within our discussions, because we don't argue, we just have discussions. So it may be even within the discussions that we're talking about. And I'll tell him, I'm like, I didn't think about it like that. And I'll be like, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm still working on, and that's how we always end it. Like I always say, my biggest thing is that I'm still working on myself. I'm just trying. I'm trying to work on myself. And he'll be like, yes, I'm trying to work on myself too. So we both doing it, and then we'll hug and laugh it off and move on. But we are, that's what you're doing in a relationship. You're only working on yourself. So
Mhm.
I would say recognize that. How you can recognize the connection to, look and see which part of the pole that you may be on right now. Are you someone who's still trying to be out there, be a player? You may be trying to talk, allow people to constantly let people talk to you, giving your phone number out, doing this, that, and the third? Are you somebody who be like, hey, I want to spend time? Are you somebody that's just over giving, constantly doing whatever she tell you to do? You just a doormat, what people may say or whatever. Like, look and see where are you on the pole, especially compared to your partner's giving. You know what I'm saying? Like, it needs to be reciprocated, right?
Mhm.
If your overgiving is somebody just sitting over there just being someone that's just taking, then they are someone who is not reciprocating within the connection, and they are opportunists. So you have
Yeah.
to kind of look at, don't, that's another thing to recognize the connection, because everybody is not your divine partnership, right? And I told y'all before, I had an opportunist. So don't have somebody who is an opportunist that's just sitting there taking what you're giving, and they're not reciprocating worth a damn
Had
anyway,
opportunities. Yeah.
right? So that's not going to be your spiritual partnership. Well, I wouldn't say it wouldn't be your spiritual partnership. I would say it wouldn't be your divine partnership, because your spiritual partnership is all about evolving. So there still can be somebody that's going to teach you a lesson. You can get a lesson from anything. So they could be a
And
spiritual partner, because spirits around you all the time can always teach you a lesson, right?
yeah.
But your divine, that's your higher self, your higher consciousness type of partnership, would be somebody that's an opportunist, that's taking advantage of you just wanting to give out of your loving heart, your loving nature. They'll understand your loving nature, and then they will reflect that to you and tell you, hey, you don't have to do that. They'll like, no, I'll do that. No, I don't want you to do that. So, or you'll see them doing things on their own to add in and reciprocate. But that's another thing to watch out there sometimes. And
It
I
might
know a
take.
lot of women end up doing that, because we're womb energy, especially after we've had sex with someone, then we may end up feeling like, oh, I want to give. Because I know that's how I am. I'll be like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, ooh. Well, that's too much, Gina. Stop, god damn it. So I have to backtrack myself. And part of this connection I'm in now, like, I recognize that when we had a conversation, it brought some awareness to me of that, of what he had already seen. When we came back, he said, you are so loving. He said, you have such an open heart. And he just like, he said, and I'm just scared. He said, I'm just scared because you're so loving, and that could be scary for a man, and he admitted it, because they may not have had that type of love before. So now they're like, am I gonna be enough? So
Mm.
at least be able to see that, instead of just taking, then making sure that it's somebody that is working on that reciprocating, and you not over giving, because over giving is an
It
issue
can
too.
happen like that. If it's your lesson of overgiving, it can happen like that. It won't be done though to your bank account is stripped, and it won't be done in a toxic
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
It'll be done in a way that is, in my opinion, gentle compared to
Mm-hmm.
what I have experienced in the past. Um, but sometimes that divine partner has to teach you that lesson. Um, and lessons cost. You're not learning nothing for free. Like they do cost. they
Yeah.
you're gonna pay your way when it comes to the type of lessons that you have to learn. Um, so it can happen to where you are over giving so much and you have a divine partner that is receiving it, but the difference that I have realized is that they don't like it. He would ask me, why are you doing this? Like he had never had somebody. to be that nice and that open with him. Um, and it wasn't like I was doing a lot, but I would see a need and I would fulfill it. That's how I
Mhm.
love on people. I notice and I observe, and you don't even have to say nothing, but I'll know you need it. And if I have it, I'll go ahead and I'll get it. And so he would be like, "Why are you doing this?" It made him feel like something else was going on in the background, to where like, or I had done something wrong and now I'm trying to like, love bomb him or something like that. And
Yeah.
so that lesson is a lesson that I did learn through my divine partner. But the reason why it took the divine partner to teach me that lesson was because I had done it over and over and over again previous
Mm-hmm.
to this partner. And sometimes it those might have been karmic situations or whatever, but some lessons, like, I feel like your divine partner can only teach you. It's only certain it's or go through the experience with you, because for you two are so like entangled with each other, to where it hits different. This lesson hits different when it's with this partner. For some reason, my partner is opposite to my sign, so he is actually my sister sign. Like, so I'm a Pisces, he's a Virgo. So it really is about keeping the balance. It really is about um being able to see above what you're seeing in the 3D when it comes to this lesson, and asking for the higher perspective of it. I had to learn to ask for the higher perspective, because I'm kind of surrounded by Virgos. I have a lot of Virgos in my circle, and I have noticed something with them. It's always a deeper reason for the reason why they do certain things. And so by me knowing that, and also that being true for me as well, because it's always some deep shit that I'm in. Like, I'm always going to the bottom of the ocean. I'm always going deep. So if for some reason I don't believe that there really is a bottom of the ocean, okay,
It's not.
it's not. Because no, ma'am. I think I got to the bottom, then I'll walk a few feet, and then whoop, I'm going back
Okay.
down again. So,
It's a
so I
whole
had to
world.
realize, yeah, a whole nother ocean down there. In the
Mm-hmm.
ocean, within the ocean, within the ocean. It's just a whole lot. But I had to recognize that these are, all lessons are not going to be pretty. All lessons are not going, you're not going to get it right off the bat. Some lessons are going to take you um what they call separation, or you guys kind of moving apart from each other, and to heal. And you got some lessons that you're gonna learn together, you're gonna laugh together. Like, it's all of these, it's so many that I have never experienced this much in such a short period of time. In a 6-year span, I've never learned this much, you know information. It's so much that comes with, so much depth that comes with these lessons. Like, it's like, even when I want to be mad at them, I can't really be mad at them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that's another way of recognition as well. It's like, because it's always something deep that's happening. It's like, okay, I hope he forgive me because I forgive him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, now I didn't came into the aha moment. I'm like, oh, so I was kind of like, okay, so I did it again. Okay, all right. At least I didn't. It didn't go for a whole year this time. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is to myself. Like, okay, well, I can do it. And another way that I recognize too is the first time we had sex. It was like it was like an experience that I have never experienced with somebody before. Um, it was more electric than it was like um than anything else. Um, it was on a whole nother level for it to be the first time, of you know how usually people are awkward, like we're awkward, the first time you just you feel cool, but you like, okay, yeah, everything gonna be good, but you kind of still have that nervousness. I was so nervous, but it went away so fast because I hadn't been with anybody else um in 12 years. I had been with the same man. So I was nervous as hell. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know why I'm here. I'm thinking to myself, like, why am I here? Like, what are you doing? I I kept having a pep talk. I'm like, I'm on the way there driving.
A pep talk.
I'm like, why are you here? What are you doing? And my foot still was on the gas. It was like, damn, it's my sister. But I'm still on the gas, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And I was so nervous, but it went away so fast because we felt so familiar. It felt like hours, like I don't know. It was like you suspended in time, like time stopped or something like that. Like it felt um like magical almost, but and we kind of like looked at each other like, what in the fuck just happened? Like, like how you look at each other and like, that's not this. I'm looking at them motherfucker like, who are you? Like, who sent you? That's what.
Yeah, yeah, I would
Like,
black
how
out.
did you know I needed that? Like,
Still
what
black
is
out.
wrong with you?
It's
Yeah,
crazy. I black out, and I think he know the spot now to black me out because I go away. Like I go away. Like I'll be
yeah,
gone, and then I'll
yeah,
come back. I'm like, okay, now you know how to take me away and come back. Now you playing, okay? Now
yeah,
because now you know. But yeah, the sexual chemistry, and even like we've been sexual since 2017, and even now it'll still feel like the first time again.
yeah. Every
Like
time,
every time
it's
it's
like
like
being
it's
activated.
yes, every time it's like the first time because I'm just like, okay. So now it still feels like that. So and just looking at within, like your connection, like if you feel like, hey, this is same old, or you gotta flirt with somebody else, look at somebody else, and you not drawn, like that's another thing. Like
Yeah,
the next thing for me was nobody else.
yeah,
It was like nobody else. Like I have been in, and usually when I'm in a relationship, like I don't entertain conversations over the phone with men at all. But I'll still have friends, or I still have male friends, or I still, I've had that in previous relationships. Like that's still my friend. But with him, it was like I've cut everybody off. And I'm like, I don't even want to be with nobody else. Like, I don't even look at no other dude. I don't care what they look like. Like, I don't. The only attraction is to my partner, to my divine partner, because you see it.
hmm,
You, especially when you grow within the journey of self, you see that this connection is beyond the physical attributes or the, what's the 3D economic statue and all of that you looked for previously. Like this is something that's ascending me and touches me within my soul connection deeper than anybody else. I don't even want to experience anybody else because this connection of what I'm getting on the soul level is higher than what anything and anybody else got out here going, and I don't even care. And then the thoughts
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about it before. Like there's